Now, we'll do these one at a time, but I'll leave them up here so that we can switch partners twice instead of our usual once for this. So for number 1, you're going to write this down and then explain to your colleague how you get the answer. And when you do that, here your base is going to be a -5. And as long as the bases are the same, we just add our exponents. Now for number 2, here we're multiplying these monomials in a sense, and let's see what you get for an answer. Well, it would be 7 times 5 is 35. And keep in mind there is a 1 when there is no exponent on a variable or a number. There's a 1 that's there. So 2 plus 1 is y to the 3rd. All right, we can switch boards now and have the other person write this down, number 3. And it gets a little more complicated, but still basically we're going to add exponents. 6 plus 7 is 13. Z, and keep in mind there's a 1 there. 2 plus 1 is 3. Pretty easy. And this last one now, there is a negative sign there that got erased a little bit. So take a moment to write that down and explain how you're doing it to your colleague. So it'll be a -4 times 2 gives you a -8. M, now we're just going to add exponents, keeping in mind there's a 1 there. M to the 5th, N to the 9th. So these are the easiest of them. We'll pause. Now this is the power rule when we're raising a base in parentheses to a power. So in this case, we don't add exponents, we're going to multiply exponents. Keeping in mind there is a 1 on the 6, so this would become 6. 1 times 2 is to the 2nd. Q to the 10th. But they would like that simplified. This will then be 6 squared is 36. Q to the 10th. Now here again it's raising powers to a power because of the parentheses. So take a moment, write that down, exchange the tablet, and see what happens. This will be y. 3 times 9 is 27. Z, 4 times 9 is 36. And there are others, but as a little exercise, that's what we'll do today. Well, we'll do 2 more. Now, the rule for these, if when we multiply variables with exponents, we just add them. If we're going to divide, we would just subtract, and that's what we do. So the rule is if our bases are the same, we just take the smaller one, When it crosses the division bar, we subtract it. The sign of the exponent changes as we cross the division bar. So this then becomes a -3 to the second. Now they asked us also here to simplify. So this would be a -3 times a -3 gives us a +9. And for this one, take a moment, switch. This will be P. Up here becomes a -6. So P to the second. This is Q to the first. Up here becomes a -1. And Q to the 7th. Keep in mind, if you have any other questions as you're moving along on this, ask the tutors or myself.